All right, man. Shakir, how you doing, my friend? It's great to
I am
have you
doing
on.
awesome, man. Great to have you guys. Great
Yeah.
to be on here. Thank you so much. It's been about 3 years trying to make this happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one's been. I was gonna say probably 2 years. It was like we first started communicating, like trying to figure out the podcast schedules, and a whole bunch of reschedules happened. In fact, I think we were supposed to record about 2 weeks ago, and my internet just completely crapped out on us. Like we did one interview, the internet cut out about 12 times during that one interview, and we went, okay, we need to reschedule the rest. This isn't working. So we're finally making it happen. So excited about it.
Yeah, man. And you're in a cool place right now, Dubai. We were just kind of nerding out about that too, man. Just tell little folks like kind of some of the crazy stuff you're seeing over there, because I don't think a lot of people have actually visited Dubai.
So I'm right now in Dubai. I've been here for a couple of weeks, and this is basically they refer to it as the Las Vegas of the Middle East, except there's no casinos, and it's just the most insane place you've ever been. I mean, they've got a 7-star hotel that I think racks up bills of, I think it's like $80,000 to $100,000 a night you can spend for one night.
And that's the room you're staying in, right? It's insane.
Like basically everything. Not exactly. Not just yet. I just saw they started. I just saw a clip from a guy called Dr. Pietro Diamandis, and he showed these $180,000 one person flying helicopters that are being tested right now in Dubai, and the police is going to be basically flying them.
Oh my God.
Right. So it's just like insane, dude. Like you see Lamborghinis, which most people, not most people, but a lot of people's dream car is a big fancy Lamborghinis. The policeman will have a $300,000, $500,000 Lamborghini car. Like it's so ridiculous. You're like, wow. And then as soon as you say wow, the next thing is even more wow. It's even more wow. So it's just like, I've been very fortunate. I traveled a lot of countries, wrote a book, Backpack Millionaire, traveled like 70 plus countries before I turned 30. There's no other country like Dubai where you just can't get bored. Like every day just seems to be better and better. It's really wild. I'll give you some context. In London, if you have maybe 20 or 30 different top restaurants, I don't know, let's just say in general, you have top 20 restaurants in London. In here, in Dubai, what you have is top 20 Chinese restaurants, top 20 American restaurants, top 20 something else restaurants. And it's just like a never-ending buffet of just everything. Like it's insane. They have the largest road. So I just came back from America. I spent 3 weeks in Chicago. And when I'm in London and I go to Chicago in America, the roads are huge. Like they have like 3, 4, 5 lanes. Here they have a road which has something like 16 lanes.
Oh, jeez.
Like, it's just like everything is abundance, huh? It's just huge. Everything goes big. Yeah.
It's very competitive as well. So they see something somewhere like in Singapore, they have the Marina Bay Sands. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've seen that.
Fancy hotels with it. So they built one of those. In London, we have the London Eye. They built one of those London wheels. Yep. It's just like, it's really insane. You got to actually come out here to visit. So, and I'm very happy and grateful because I have 2 of my best friends that live out here. So, when I'm here, it's just like home. And anyway, I'm considering to move here just because of lots of benefits that they have here.
Yeah, man.
You don't get anywhere else.
Well, I want to like, we'll definitely pack a trip, book a trip one of these days when we can make it out there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for
us
when you're back out there so you can be our tour guide when you get out there.
And your buddies.
Dude, like you'll never get bored. One day you could be literally doing skiing inside of the mall that they built a ski slope. And the next day you could be in the desert riding and racing buggies and doing cars. And it's just like, it's insane. It's insane, dude. I honestly don't think I've got any work done since I've been here. And I'm like, come on. I'm blaming the Wi-Fi.
Hey, this is work.
Right? This is work. This is work.
This is branding right here. Yeah.
Right. Well, dude, take us back, because I know it hasn't always been this way for you, and it
100%, dude.
And it hasn't really even been that long, too. I know you made some big moves within 10 years or something? I think you started around 09 or somewhere around there, right?
2009, 2010. I got started, it's going to sound like a rags to riches story, but the truth is I didn't come from money. I grew up in a 3-bedroom council flat, what they call projects or whatever in America. And we had 13 people living there. And as I grew up, there are like 13 people in a 3-bedroom house, right? So as I grew up, I didn't really know I was poor until I went to America and I met these millionaires. And I'm like, wow, was I just poor my whole life? Like I didn't understand what was rich and what was poor, because when I was growing up, although we were cramped up, we didn't have a lot of money, my parents, they gave us an abundance of love. And it's only now do I really appreciate that, because I realized back then it helped me with my self-esteem and my confidence, right? And so, even if I didn't have a lot of money, and as a family, we didn't have a lot of money, my parents still instilled so much love, kindness, generosity to me and to my family. And that's what kind of propelled me to have this confidence. I'm going to go try this. And even if it doesn't work, I'll be okay. And so what I was doing when I was, I guess, 15, 16 years old, I used to go to the markets and I used to go and sell mobile phones, electronics, like everything under the sun. And when I was probably 16, 17, I was importing things from China. Alibaba was just starting, AliExpress, those things were just starting. I would import things from China and I would go door to door, literally door to door, knocking on my neighbor's door, trying to sell them this stuff. So I got started in entrepreneurship fairly young. I've actually never had a real job per se. I've never been employed by like a corporation or company or someone. And when I was 19, I went to a personal development seminar. And that was like my insight of you should become a business owner. That's the only way you're gonna basically get rich. And basically that was my only plan. Like I didn't care about changing the world. I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was. I was like, I want to get rich. And so when I was 21, I started coming online, 2009, finding entrepreneurs, and mainly these were Americans. Okay. So I have a lot of love for American entrepreneurs, should I say, because in the UK, not to talk bad about the UK, because it's my home and stuff, but the UK people is a little bit different. They have a little bit more of a closed mindset, skeptical. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Listen, I've been an entrepreneur. I've lived in the UK my whole life, and I've traveled a lot, right? And when you travel a lot, you're like, wow, American people are really open-minded. Or wow, British people are like this, or Singaporeans are very strict like this. You just learn a few things culturally, right? Yeah, and it's totally like, it's like, look at in America, they really push this, be an entrepreneur, you got freedom and stuff.
The freedom,
UK,
American dream.
It's not like that. And so, American dream is like, I don't know, is this something called the British dream? I don't know, you tell me. Like,
never heard of it.
I was never taught. There's a British dream, right? And so, I basically get an email one day. I'm sitting in the basement of my dad's friend's basement, where he basically said generously, come and work as this in your office. And I get this email from these two guys in America, and they said, come to Las Vegas. They were from New York, and they said, come and rub shoulders with millionaires. And my eyes just lit up. I mean, I'm like 21 years old. At the time, I had like long, greasy hair. I was super overweight, like morbidly. I was like morbidly overweight, basically. Wow. And I didn't have a lot of confidence. But man, when I saw for $1,500, I could go to America, and there was this. Because before that, I used to just watch these people on the internet, right? So I was like, I don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're a scam. But when I got that invitation, come to this live event, and you're going to be able to rub shoulders with millionaires. I was like, how much is this? When is it? Right. And I didn't have the money. So I called up my best friend and I said, you're my best friend, and I know you have some life savings. You need to give me $1,500 right now.
That's a good best friend.
And what are you talking about? And so I told my parents, and they said, like, what are you talking about? I said, dude, I'm going to go to Las Vegas. Anyway, long story short, I go to Las Vegas. That was my first insight into internet marketing and how to make money on the internet. Okay. I came back home. I put myself into $45,000 worth of debt because I had absolutely no idea what the heck I was doing. But I knew if I could buy my way in, I could at least have access. within 3 years, when I was 23, I made my first $1 million. And then it was $1.2 million. The next year I doubled it, 2.4 million, 3.6, 6.5. By the time I was 26, I made my first $10 million. I made every single mistake under the sun when I made that first $10 million. Every single thing, from taxes, hiring friends and family, buying lots of stupid things, investing in startups, giving money away, in the $20,000, $100,000 to friends and family. Like the most insane thing. I made every single mistake. I got punched in the face 101 times. And then I took a break, 26, took a break for like maybe 1 or 2 months. And then I got back on. And within the next 3 years, I did $30 million just before I turned 30. Wow. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna take a little break, which I did. And I just got married. So I took my wife traveling around the world for like 18 months. And then you kind of get bored because of traveling too much. And earlier this year, I was invited to go to the ClickFunnels Award. I got these 2 8-figure plaques. Yeah. And then it just something inside me just reignited myself. So I joined a bunch of masterminds, which is what I usually do. And I'm basically back in the game. And I thought, hey, I'm going to do these podcasts. And I've made a lot of mistakes and I made some money as well. And so I'm just willing to share whatever I've learned. And so I'm an open book. You can ask me anything, good, bad, ugly, dude. I'm here.
So what is the business right now? So how would you describe what your current business model is?
So the current business model is, I'll give you an overview and then I'll go real deep into it. And then I'll tell you the stats. I'll tell you the mistakes people make, even I've made. So the current business model is very simple. We have a couple of authority leading websites. So funnels.com is one of them. wealthacademy.com is one. There's a few others, but let's just say stick with those 2. And what those 2 sites do is that they lead with valuable education, where someone comes in, they watch a webinar, and then they get on a phone call. Through a discovery session, we'll prescribe whatever their challenges are, and then we'll offer them programs anywhere from $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 and beyond. That is what I call my multiple 8-figure boring business. It's the most boring thing. It's not sexy. There's no fancy things behind it. And we can go into the psychology of it and why it works and all of this stuff. But essentially, that's the business model. Is right now we have a high-end funnels agency service where we help people with their funnels, their offers, their high-ticket programs, help them scale 6 to 7, 7 to 8 figures and beyond.
So that's good. I mean, I love the fact boring businesses, it's really, if you locate an offer that really works and solves someone's need, which it seems like what you've figured out, you're just throwing traffic at it. You have enough of this input to a webinar, and that's the trust building, that's the education, all that stuff. And then the sales happens after that. Seems very personalized if you have a sales team and then you have multiple options on the back end.
Yeah, 100%. The secret to making this offer work is firstly understanding that when you have a funnel that has the ability to convert the right audience into a high ticket sale, traffic is endless, and traffic comes in abundance. So this is something that I learned when I was 21 years old, and I accidentally learned it. I didn't learn it because I'm so smart, or I don't have a degree. I dropped out of university my final year. It's not that I'm smart. It's just I understood that timing is actually more important than any other things that you think makes a business work. It's not your team. It's not how much cash you have. It's not your strategy. Like, none of these things matter if you're not in the right time. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And this is what I figured out when I was just 21 years old. And I can give you 3 examples, real case studies, because sometimes, when you listen to people, that's one of the reasons why I want to do these more podcasts, is because I'm like, I listen to a few podcasts and I'm like, but they don't really share what's really going on, right? And the real psychology. And I'm like, put me on a podcast and I'm going to share with you. So I'll tell you what happened. 21 years old, I started doing affiliate marketing. And what I found out was within the community of doing affiliate marketing, they had maybe, 10,000 customers or whatever they had. Within that community, there was a lot of people that were struggling with a pain point, right? And so here's what my first model was I used to do affiliate marketing for myself, did 6 figures. And then I thought, you know what, I'm really good at traffic generation. So I'm gonna be a high-end traffic consultant. So I started charging people $10,000, $25,000 for traffic consulting. And people would come, they'd pay me. Sometimes they fly to London, they'd pay me. And I'm like, this is really cool. And I remember hiring a guy called James Shramko from
he's a good
Sydney,
buddy.
Australia. Okay, Sydney, Australia. Okay, so so you guys know him. And, I was really young back then. I don't know, 22. Okay, it was definitely before I think I was doing, I don't know, maybe $1 million or less than $1 million. And I remember this, right? I get on the phone with him and I'm like telling him how much of a hot shot I am. And he's like, if you make your clients so much money, why don't you just do this for yourself? And I was like, well, I didn't think of it. And he said, I never forget this because I still utilize this. I haven't spoken to him for a long time, but I remember him saying this, if you can position yourself as the authority, then you can go and basically clean up that marketplace. And I said, how on earth do you do that? And he's like, what are you doing right now? I said, well, I do affiliate marketing and I do something called I sell solo ads. He said, you should be the solo ads agency. And I'm like, okay. And I remember on the call, I think I was paying him like $1,500 or $2,000 for the call or something, And I was thinking to myself, is this call going to be worth it? Right. So I go to GoDaddy, I buy this domain called soloadsagency.com. Within 12 months, my income shoots to $300,000 a month. Wow. That year I did $3.6 million. And then I came to that realization, wow, this is what I got to do. I got to find an area of a market, a very niche market that I can go and serve, add massive value, and then I can offer my high ticket services. And from day one, I've always been into a high ticket because I did ClickBank and I failed miserably for about 9 months. And then
selling
I was
$49.
Like, yeah. $49 stuff, right? And I'm like, this is the most craziest thing ever. And then I closed one high ticket sale and I made 25 G's. And I'm like, okay, I'm never touching anything low ticket, which is still something I do right now. I only focus on high ticket offers. Actually, right now I'm working on a $400,000 offer. So that's a whole other topic. But anyway.
Yeah, kind of curious later what that is, maybe. Yeah, but go on.
Yeah, maybe. So as I'm going through this phase of understanding how to build authority, how to be a market leader, not to everyone, but a very specific group of people, I just replicated that formula over and over again. So I saw that business get to $300,000 a month. And then anytime I want to go and dominate a niche, I basically find a group of people. They have to be hungry. They have to be willing to spend. They're easy to reach because I don't like to work hard to get a few customers at a time. I want to work smart and I want to get a lot of customers in one go. And so the next one that I came up with, okay, so that's, basically one example. That one did more than $3 million, about 3.6, whatever, $4 million, whatever. The next one was funnels was coming out, okay? And this was before ClickFunnels. Mm-hmm. And so what I found was a group of people in a community, okay? And you can go and find this. You can go find this in ClickBank. You can go find this in Facebook groups. You can go find groups of people that are underserved, and then you can position yourself as the authority. So the next one, I found a group of people, and they were running home businesses. They were running affiliate offers, whatever. And I came up with this hook angle story, which was the reason why you don't make money is because you haven't positioned yourself. And the only way people make money is when they position themselves as a gurus. And gurus are known as thought leaders, experts, authorities, like you guys. You guys are, for me, I'm like, oh, if someone said to me about podcasts, I'm like, you guys are the gurus in podcasts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And so whether you like the term guru or not, like that doesn't matter. I don't care. But that's the market of that's the language of the market that people know. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? So I'm like, hey, you know what they need? They need guru funnels. Okay. And so I made my list and we put together an offer. Okay, and the offer was $10,000. I would have been happy if I got 5 or 10 sales from a webinar.
Yeah.
I knew there was demand in the market, but I didn't know the demand was that huge. That offer I mailed to my list. Within the first 3 months of launching that offer, I did $1.2 million. I had 120 full paid customers at 10 grand a pop. I was like, holy smokes. No traffic. This was just emailing my list. I did $1.2 million from that. And then I went back. I thought I was so smart. I tried to do it again live. It didn't work. So I just put it on. I found the first version and I put that thing on an automated webinar. Mm-hmm. That campaign did $3 million.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. way more than $3 million, but we're just going to keep it at $3 million. Okay, because who's counting? No one except for me. Okay, but here's the thing that happened after doing this for and making over $3 million from one webinar. I realized, wow, I can do $30,000, $10,000, $50,000 per hour activities, or I can do $50 per hour activities. So right now, I have a list of a very few things that I do, which I look at as my critical few, and everything else is this trivial many. Everything else must be eliminated, delegated, automated. I don't want nothing to do with it. I want to focus on the highest leverage activity I can do. Greatly influenced by two mentors of mine. One is a guy called Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. Another guy is a guy called Perry Marshall, who wrote the book 80-20. His mentor is a guy I learn a lot from. His mentor is called Richard Koch. And Richard Koch is a British entrepreneur who basically is close to being a billionaire, but the guy works like something like 4 hours a week or something really ridiculous.
Yeah,
but anyway, he's really mastered this 80-20 concept.
Those guys are all like.
Have you guys got Richard Koch on here?
We're in chats to have him on. Actually, we are going to have him on in a couple months. But you're exactly right. It's him and Perry. Perry's been on a few times. He's a friend too. And I'm trying to.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it's just everything you're saying is totally right. And it's the trivial mini. Yeah. And what are the few things, just really fast? I don't want to ruin the flow here, but what are the few things that you actually spend time on? I'm curious about that.
I spend time on thinking time. I spend a lot. This is what I realized. I spend a lot of time on thinking time. In my early 20s, I was mentored by a lot of people. I mean, I spent over $550,000 in my personal mentoring consulting. And I had a simple idea, which was this. Instead of me trying to learn my way, what if I just buy my way in? And I've not stopped, right? Like even for next year, I'm planning to join the top e-com mastermind, the top software mastermind, the top digital consulting mastermind. I'm like, okay, these are the 3 top masterminds I'm going to join. It's not even 2021 yet, right? And so I always think, okay, how can I go and learn? And one thing I've found in common amongst all of the people that sell me these masterminds is, guess what? They all spend time doing thinking time. Okay, like every single one of them, just thinking time. So what is thinking time? It's 15, 30, sometimes an hour per day. And I first learned this when I was at Tony Robbins' Plan and Partnership with Keith Cunningham. He basically said, have you interviewed him? The Road Less Stupid.
Not yet, but he's
okay. The Road Less
brilliant.
Stupid, basically. Yeah. So the Road Less Stupid basically is all about how he made 150 million, and then he lost it, and then got into there, and then he made 100 million back. And he said the secret was thinking time. So I try, no matter what happens in a day, I have to do thinking time. That's one. Number 2 is I have to do something which I refer to as an OSS. It's what I call my $10,000 per hour activity. Okay. And what the OSS is an optimum selling system. I am always trying and aiming to refine a optimum selling system, which, is basically a machine that gets me more customers, that once set up, it just works. So you can refer it to as a iPhone video. And this is what we teach in our programs and stuff to our clients. We teach them, hey, you need to create an OSS that will give you the most leverage. And what an OSS is, it could be a simple iPhone video. It could be a webinar. The new hottest thing right now, one of the hottest things in marketing right now is, and I encourage everyone to do it, is a mini webinar, which is a 13-minute webinar. And you're just coming in straight with the pitch. No backstory. No, hey, here's my rags to riches. None of that nonsense. It's just, hey, listen. So, for example, I've just recorded one, and it goes something like this. Hey, if you just opted in, you probably need help with a high ticket offer and automated funnels. Hey, 97% of my customers, they hate funnels, they hate tech. And what if I said to you, I can do all of those things for you, literally with my team, and will help you craft an offer. If you want more information, you need to book a call right now down below. And then I'll talk for like 10 minutes. Okay. But see, in the first 2 minutes, I've already made my offer. So that's the hottest thing right now. If you look at all of the top guys, let's just say Dan Locke, he has the largest YouTube channel on entrepreneurship for entrepreneurs. If you see his funnels, that's exactly what he's got. Right. And it's a straight, like 15, 25 minutes. So they refer to it as a mini webinar, whatever. I call them an OSS. So you ask me, what do I spend my time doing? OSS. The third thing is I'm always looking to hire my all-star team, right? Okay, what that means is like, for example, you guys just hooked me up with an operations person, right? Thank you, by the way. And so what I'm going to do with her now is I am going to make sure that she's, inundated with lots of work. Okay, because I'm going to go hire the best people I know, and I would say, hey, you need to work with this lady, and you need to figure out where you can add the most value. But so it takes away a lot of the stress for me in terms of training, SOP management, right? I think I'm a decent CEO, but I'm a horrible manager or a horrible, like, I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I just want to be left alone. I want to come up with these big ideas all the time. That's what my Kobe personality represents as well. And so I want to keep moving on that. So that's basically, I'd say, the top three things. The fourth thing, when it comes to marketing, actually doing marketing, is I write an email a day. I've been writing an email a day for about 8 years now, 7-8 years. Wow. So I write that email. It's, sometimes that takes me 20 minutes a day. Sometimes it takes me an hour a day. Without fail, I email my list 5 to 6 times a day. I just haven't stopped that one activity. Once over the last, 7-8 years, I tried outsourcing it, but something didn't connect. So I was just like, I just email. So that's basically, that's like the overview. As to doing tactical stuff, because I know your listeners like tactical stuff.
Yeah,
the tactical stuff is, we have a simple opt-in page that just goes beyond an opt-in page, which basically talks about, I have an example on funnels.com, and it has a lot of authority positioning. Like, for me, that's very big, right? Because I realize I can charge 5 to 10 times more, get paid 5 to 10 times more. I can work with rich, busy entrepreneurs versus broke entrepreneurs. I can work with successful people that want more success versus people that are trying to hit their first level of success. If I just create change, dissect my marketing so that it speaks to one caliber of person, right? And so, you'll see if you go through any of my webinars, my funnels, there's a lot of authority by association. There's a lot of credibility factors. There's a lot of talks about my values, right? I'll talk about my family, God, all of these things, because one affluent buyer, someone that's going to pay you $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, when they want to pay you big money, they want to buy based on values, right? Like, if you're gonna say, Shaq, what's the secret to selling high ticket offers? Because I've now sold over 1,000 customers at high ticket price points, 5, 10, 20 grand a pop. What's the secret? The secret, and I didn't get this because I'm so smart. I got it because I used to be part of Dan Kennedy's Platinum something mastermind, and in one of them, he basically said the secret for rich people to buy is they have to have values that collide. And I was like, what? Like, he's like, out of everything is the values. Okay, so that's the first stage. People come into my opt-in, then they go through my webinar. My webinar, I have 3 different types of webinars. I just give you the 3 different formats because most people rely on just one, and they think, if they can just do one, it can work. Maybe, your stuff can work. For me, and what I sell, what I found is 3 different types. So I'm going to just give you the 3 different types because, it's what's worked for me. Okay, it's what's worked for me. And how I look at as it worked for me is, if the money is there, if there's results. And so the first one is a straight 15-minute straight up webinar that I just said, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I've got. Book a call, buy my stuff. 13 to 15 minutes is the sweet spot. The next one is a 45-minute one. Okay, the 45-minute one is where you do tell a little bit about your story, and you go through and you give examples and you give case studies, and you're really working on logic brain, right? Like, you're making them understand, hey, give me 45 minutes, I'll explain to you, and you're taking your time. The third one, which is my favorite one, which takes the longest one, and this is the monster 3 to 4 hour webinar. Okay, and I've done these, I would say I've done at least more than 5, 6 of them, okay, in my time, where they're very well scripted, 3 to 4, 4.5 hours, and I'm just going at it, the beginning, 30 to 45 minute story. And listen, people will tell you, you shouldn't tell these stories about rags to riches, blah, blah, blah. Go and sell to someone who is driven by values, they want to know your backstory. Does that make sense? Okay.
Definitely.
Like they want to hear stories, right? Like I've done basically over 100 live events. Okay. 100 live events, physical live events. Okay. I used to run a seminar company. Wealth Academy was a seminar company, physical events all over the world. I built teams, had a team of about 55 staff. And I was probably 27, 28 years old. Okay. I can tell you right now, when we told stories, we made sales. When I had someone to come in and the guy would just come in and be like, you know what, you should buy these Wealth Academy certifications, you should buy these funnels, my conversions went down. And I would ask my team what happened. And the feedback was the same. Shaq, you know what? He didn't tell enough stories. He didn't have human connection. Shaq, he wasn't funny. He didn't follow the script. He didn't make the right jokes. Right. So regardless of what people say, you know, or people think, and this is why, like, sometimes you got to just put your head down and you work and not focus on what the competition or what other people are doing, is because I learned this stuff through data, right? Like I learned this stuff through spending lots of money. Like, regardless of what anyone says, the average person still wants to hear a compelling story because they can feel like, hey, I relate. Does that make sense?
It's so ingrained in us as humans. Yeah.
So ingrained, dude. If I came up to you and I said to you, hey, man, you know what? Yeah, when I was 21, I had a six-pack and I used to be a model and my dad just gave me 50 G's. You know, you'd be like, what a rich.
Get out of here.
You know what? Yeah. You wouldn't even pay attention. You know,
Right.
like you guys are paying attention right now. You probably wouldn't even be paying attention. And so that's just like what I find. So the third webinar is one of my favorite ones. I'm actually working on the third webinar style right now, which is, I call it just a monster webinar. This one's going to be a good 4 or 5 hour webinar. Wow. And I'm really going to really go in at it. You know, I'm going to go really in at it from beginning, you know, 30 to 45 minute story, backstory, lots of proof, lots of results, credibility, then go in for like an hour of content. But even the content that you give, if you give them too much content, the prospect feels like, I can do this, I don't need you. That used to happen at my seminars, right? Because what we would do in my seminars is we would teach people affiliate marketing funnels. And then the smart cookies would come and be like, well, I just learned all this. And so why do I need you guys?
Right.
And he's like, and so they wouldn't buy anything, right? They wouldn't buy my expensive stuff at my events. And I used to think, okay. And, you know, when I paid Russell Brunson $25,000 to join his mastermind, I couldn't attend his mastermind. But what I did get was a 1 hour call with him. And in that call, the nuggets that I got, even till today, they impact me. And one of the things like he was talking about is identifying basically the myths that's already in the person's head. And if you can, you know, join that conversation, you can understand those myths, you can overcome those myths, then what happens is they themselves have epiphanies. And when someone else has an epiphany, now they're like, oh, you don't need to sell me, right? So one of the keys of how I was able to scale my businesses to multiple 8 figures is because of this one concept that I just took it to heart, right? And I'll give you an example. So in one of my webinars where, you know, I'm teaching them the 7 secrets to making $1 million a year or whatever it was, right? It was a nice little sexy hook. And once they come in, I'm telling them, guys, these are the 7 steps. You need to have an opt-in, you need to have a webinar, you need to have email follow-up, you need to have an integrated product suite, which basically means you need to sell multiple things because people want to buy multiple things, right? And people want to buy at multiple price points. And then you need to have a follow-up machine, which includes live events or direct mail. Okay, all of these things I've done. And so now I've basically given someone the 7 steps, right? Now they're in their mind, they're like, now I understand. Right now, the person feels smart, enlightened, and empowered. But they also feel like this is a lot of work, man. You know, especially because guess what I do? I then flash all of to make it real for them. I flash, you know, all of I'll pick up maybe say 10 top gurus, okay, or 20 gurus or whatever, and I'd say this is the one commonality of every single one of them, and no one's sharing this stuff with you, and I am. And the one commonality is that every single one of these guys have positioned themselves as a guru, and that's why they make money. Okay, that's why their funnels convert. That's why they have higher conversions. That's why they can charge more than $2,000, and you don't have that. And so now I've outlined 7 core elements, and then I say, hey, listen, how would you like my team and I to do it for you?
Yep. That's perfect, man. And then because you showed them all how complicated it is. You showed them the what, but not the how.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, that's all I do. That's all I've done. And that's, I think I'm going to do that for a little while. Next year, I'm transitioning into software as well. And so, but that's the essence of the entire business model, is that I go and find underserved markets. So I'll give you, my latest thing now, which is obviously growing real fast, which is funnels.com. And what that is, I own funnels.com, salesfunnels.com, funnelsagency.com, basically all of these top domains. I spent a little fortune about 5-6 years ago because I saw the trend was going, right? And so for me, like, I don't think I'm the smartest in the room, but I do think that I can get lucky if I'm riding with the smartest people. And, I have, Russell Brunson, friends, like Mike Phil saying that they created Groove Funnels, right? And now they got 50,000 users. ClickFunnels has over 120,000 users. And so it's not like the market is saturated or it's going down. There's plenty of space, right? And so for me, what I look for is, okay, I see a whole marketplace being educated right now on the topic of sales funnels. Okay, how do I create a competitive advantage? I'm always looking for a competitive advantage. Otherwise, I don't get into business, right? I'm always looking, how can I come in and how can I go straight to the top without having to work? You know what I mean? How can I come to you guys when you guys have done 350 or 320? How many podcasts have you done?
Yeah, it's about 350.
350.
Yeah. You done it. Yeah, 350. So when I email my list, I'm going to say, these guys have done over 350 podcasts, and now I get to get on, because now you have an audience, right? How do I do that versus someone that's got 2 podcasts and they're messaging me, can you get my podcast?
Right. Yeah,
you know
totally
what I mean?
right.
So like this is a what I call my Dream 100 activity, which I put as a $10,000 per hour activity, because the relationship and the trust that gets built is very valuable. So again, this is one of those high level things. And what I'm always looking for, and this is a key ingredient, is I'm always looking for, how do I create a competitive advantage in a marketplace, even if it's crowded, whatever, it doesn't matter. Right. So for me, I came in and I'm like, I just got these 8-figure awards. So it makes me a little bit different because I have these results. Okay. 2, I have all this authority by association with all these guys claiming to be funnel experts. Okay. Which some of them are, and so I can leverage all of that. 3, I happen to be friends with a lot of these guys. I just was on Kevin David's podcast. He's got like 1.2 million subscribers. I was on a guy called Nathan Lucas. He's got 400,000 YouTube subscribers. I think I'm getting on Dan Locke's one soon. He's got like 3 million subscribers on YouTube. So, I'm like looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, how do I go straight to the top and then position myself in a unique environment, right? With a unique offer. And that's another thing that you need to have, is once you have these elements dialed down, you need to come up with something that the marketplace feels like this is new. It gives them hope, and it's part of a bigger mission. Okay, so my one is very simple. I'm launching the world's first ever sales funnel certification, and you're going to be certified under funnels.com.
That's pretty sexy. And then you have the cred behind it all. Yeah.
Thanks. Right. And almost everyone that I speak to, they have a big smile. They're like, wow. But here's the thing, right? You guys probably have more money than me. I don't know how much money you guys make, but you guys, even with more money, okay, you guys look really rich, by the way. Okay, even with all the money and whatever.
We feel rich. We're abundant, damn it.
Yeah, I like it. I like your lifestyle. This is one of the reasons why I connected with you guys.
Yeah, man.
Now, imagine if you, like, what doesn't matter, if you whatever money you have, how would you compete with funnels.com certification? You can't, because it's just a unique thing, right? And so I encourage every single person to come up with their own unique competitive advantage. When I remember paying probably about $3,000 or something for a dinner with Ty Lopez, right? And it was like a 4-hour dinner, but he came like 2.5 hours late, and everyone was complaining, but he stayed until like 2-3 a.m. And it was like, I was like, wow, I had no idea this guy would be so generous with his time. And there was like kids that were coming in, like, I don't know, 16, 17-year-old kids wanting to get selfies. And he literally stayed all night to take photos with these kids and then spending time with them and then giving them free shout outs, right? And I remember like one of the things I think he said at that event was like, always get into business when you find or when you have a competitive advantage, right? And like, it just stuck with me. So anything that I do, even when we teach our clients how to build offers, you know, sometimes they forget that they have so much experience, expertise, connections, networks. They can tap into their own experience, into other people's experiences, right? And then they can position an offer, right? And I believe that if you can do that, if you can get the angle of, hey, you know, how do you position an offer in a unique, new manner that gives people hope, that creates something bigger than themselves? I think those are kind of winning ingredients. And then when you have that offer dialed in and you have, you know, email automation and all of this stuff set up, honestly, traffic is the easiest thing to get. Growing and scaling the business, it just catches fire. Okay, this is basically what I've worked out. Anyway, I don't know if any of that stuff.
Man, you've been flowing. I mean, there's no way. Like, this is. I mean, I have a page of notes here, just scribbles of all sorts of things. I mean, I know we're kind of running out of time, so probably don't want to open up another loop.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that I know. So we've got maybe a few minutes left together. So maybe like the quick overview. But there's two little rabbit holes that maybe we can like touch on really quick. One, you built a list of over 600,000 people on your email list. I was kind of curious if there is any sort of tips around email list growth that you can give. And then the second question, I'll just give them to you both now so you can riff with them, is you mentioned that you bought 2 businesses, which effectively doubled your overall business. And I was wondering if you could speak into that for just a minute as well.
Yeah, of course. Remember, I said I'm an open book, so you can ask me anything. So I spent about 5 years of my life working my ass off to build my list, which was about 250,000 subscribers. I mainly did it through Facebook ads, through solo ads. Solo ads is essentially where you find someone else who has a huge list and you go and buy mail jobs, okay? Where you go buy mail jobs, they email the list. Like right now, I just got a pitch from someone from digital marketer, Ryan Dice's company. It's like 19 grand or 12 grand or whatever. It's like under 20K, and you can pay them and they'll do a mail job to their list, which is a Black Friday offer. In my mind, that's like a no-brainer because they have a 600K list. So that's what's called a solo ad. Facebook ads, everyone knows you place tiny little ads on Facebook. Either you learn the skill yourself or you go hire someone to do it for you. I always hired someone to do it for me. So I built the first 250K subscribers through that. Then I have one of my friends who was one of my clients and a friend, and he had a business that was doing $100,000 per month profit. And he says to me, Shaq, he's got a list of 200K and he's willing to sell me half of his business as long as I come in and I integrate a back-end high-ticket offer. Okay, and I'm like, this is the easiest thing ever because this is what I do. And he used to do something called Jvzoo, like low-ticket products. So Jvzoo is like a platform like ClickBank. They sell like, I don't know, $50, $100 products, low-ticket stuff. And he was doing that. So I come in, I buy his business, and I get access to his list, okay, which was about 200,000, and he had like 50,000 front-end customers. And I acquired that list, and I think to myself, whoa, it took me 5 years to build my list, right? And in one night, I just doubled the entire business.
Yeah, man. How good is that? Yeah, it's huge.
And I'm like when I saw, and back then, listen, no one was teaching me this stuff. I don't know. I just came across it and I was like, oh yeah, I should just buy it. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that business was called .com. It was basically a mix of software plus backend offers. The next one was a guy approaches me and he says, they just bought something called betternetworker.com. Okay. Now I knew Better Networker because when I was a newbie, I used to go and post in that site.
Right.
It had, I don't know. Do you remember betternetworker.com?
I remember the name. Yeah. I remember using it a long time ago.
So Better Networker. Yeah. Betternetworker.com was built by one of my friend, Mike Dillon. He spent $1 million cash building that site. Okay. He built that, and he kind of got burnt out the whole home business, network marketing, internet marketing space. So he kind of moved into financial space. These young kids come along and they're like, Shaq, we need help. And we're willing to give you like 30% of the business or something, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want 30%. I want like half of it. And so we come up with an agreement that I control the domain. I take access to the entire list, which at the time was 80,000 strong. And I think there was about 10 or 20,000 paying customers. And I said, basically, I want access to all of that. Okay. Because at heart, I'm a writer. I'm an email copywriter. I'm a marketer, right? Like I like to write and make offers. So I knew if I have access to someone's list, I can make a lot of money. So I basically figure out how to do a partnership with them. Well, I think I paid 30 G's for it. Okay, the first one I paid 200 grand for it, but I made my money back within about 45 days because I just sold a high ticket offer and we did like 400K. And I'm like, oh, I just made my damn money back, which was insane. The second one, which was Better Networker, I acquired 80,000 subscribers. Okay, and I paid 30 G's for that one. And then they kind of got burnt out because they didn't really want to do interviews and all of this stuff. So I just kept all the assets for myself. And I basically built my list to about 80,000 subscribers. Okay. I'll give you another third one because sometimes when I talk about these things, some people are like, but Shaq, I don't have $30,000 or, 200K or whatever. And so I want to give you another example, which I did, which added, I think about 180,000 subscribers, again, overnight in one go. And this was from a gentleman who had a $1 million business, but he never did email marketing and he never did anything after people came in through his funnel and didn't buy anything else. So people would come in, I think they'd get like 5 or 7 emails and they never did anything else. And so I was attending an event in Italy and I met this guy at dinner and he says to me, he's got 180,000 leads in his Infusion account and he doesn't email them. And I was like, well, I'm the guy with funnels and high ticket offers. That's been my expertise, I think, from day one. However way I look at it and position it, I'm good with funnels and I'm great with funnels and I'm great with creating high ticket offers. And so I acquired his list on a basis that we were going to do 50-50 and we did do 50-50. He made a bunch of money. I made a bunch of money for myself. I think I made like 175 grand from that deal, but I also get to keep the list. So all in all, between that, the list was over 600K. It's actually a lot more now, but 600K is good enough. Man, and so now my biggest challenge is how do I email them over? And this is something that if you are new, you're starting off, anyone can do this, right? All you have to do is you have to learn to have confidence, position yourself. You have to have value for someone else that doesn't have the time, energy, effort to focus on that value, right? And you can go and find people that have huge lists of emails, right? Like the other day, I got a message from someone who sells Amazon products. And they're like, check, I got an 80,000 subscriber list. I don't do no email marketing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Earlier this year, I went to an event called Funnel Hacking Live. And I got 1 more minute, so I'm gonna make this one real valuable. And I made friends. Well, I used to be his friend like 10 years ago with a guy. And he said to me, Shaq, I spent $1.3 million. I made $1.4 million back. And what I found was I have all these emails now, a huge list, but I don't want to do any email marketing. I've got nothing to sell. Do you have any offers that we can sell to that list and we can just do a partnership? And I'm like, so you can find people in your warm audience, right? And you can find them, you can figure out how to partner with them. You can have to figure out how to do profit sharing, whatever the case is. Anyway, that's one of the fastest ways you can build your list. Right.
Brother, you have given me so many ideas and we've already been thinking around this path, but just for list growth alone, I mean, it's like your gold, Chat. We need to bring you back, man. I swear. I mean, I know the folks are going to love you.
We'll do a round 2 for sure.
Yeah. We got you right at the minute. So give us, where should people go find you? Maybe explore one of these webinars you got.
Yeah. Just head over to funnels.com. I change the webinar probably once every month, just because I'm in testing phase, so you can see all the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
Funnels.com, funnels.com, one word. Head over there, and you'll be in good hands.
Perfect, man. Awesome, I just heard the ding right now, so right on the minute. I appreciate you, brother. Have fun in Dubai, and let's chat again soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.